Hi, welcome back. Let's see how to add meta tags on both individual and bulk MP3 files using the free software MP3 Tag. You can find MP3 Tag for free on the internet. The link is down below in the description. Here I have already prepared some files that need tags related to the song title and performer. I select all of them and drag them into the MP3 tag window. Then I go through each file one by one and enter the data. I click on the first file and enter the title in the title field. In the artist field, I enter the name of the main singer or, in this case, whoever I consider to be the main singer. Now, let's import the artwork. To do this, I use Google. I have already prepared my search with songs details. I choose the most appropriate artwork, click on it and drag the image into the cover field in MP3 Tag. Then I click the floppy disk icon to save the file. The image, along with the artwork and data, is now saved in the file. But I need to do the same for all the other files. In this case, I use a more practical method. It's called batch. In a text file, I write each line with the song title and performer separated by a comma. You can decide the separator you want to use. For example, you could use a pipe. You can also determine the order of elements like song title, performer, etc. The key is to maintain consistency between the lines. I select all the files with Ctrl-A on PC or Command-A on Mac, or using the mouse. From the main menu, I click on Convert, then on Text File tag or Alt and F4 on PC, or Options and F4 on Mac to convert from the text file to tags. In the file name field, I select the file path, which is already set in my case, and in the format string field, there is the format of the lines from the text file. I have entered the title followed by a comma and the performer, just as it is in the text file we saw earlier. If desired, you can use the arrow to add more fields, remembering to separate them with commas, pipes, or whatever you choose, making sure it matches what's in the text file. Before clicking OK, I check for errors by clicking on Preview. This shows how the fields will be interpreted for each MP3 file. If there is any error, I correct them before proceeding. Once everything looks good, I click OK, and the data is saved in the files. As you can see, I can verify this by selecting each file one by one. Next, I need to add the artwork. There are several ways to do this. One way is to select the file and then click on Tag Source in the menu. This shows where I can find the artwork to add. The main sources are MusicBrainz and Discogs. If I had the Discogs ID for the song, I could search for it directly, but I don't have it. So I choose just Discogs and type the title in the search window. Several options are displayed, and if there are multiple identical titles, like in this case, I would choose the one that seems most obvious or appropriate. I click Next. This pop-up opens in which there are various fields that I can eventually complete, but I don't need them in this specific case. I select the song, then I click OK. Since an MP3 file can contain more than one artwork, this pop-up displays this message by default, at least in this version. So I click No, and the artwork is stored in the file, visible to all media players. In case the artwork isn't from Discogs, like in the case of the song by Risa, then I search for it on Google, as I did in the beginning of the video. And the same goes for Alan Sorrenti's songs. Now, let's look at a particular case, an album where the artwork and the performer's name are the same for all songs, and only the song titles change. I drag the MP3 files into MP3 Tag as usual. I open the text file and start entering the lines, but this time in different order. Let's see why. I write the name of the performer, including a comma for separation, and then copy and paste it on another line as many times as there are songs. Then I add the song titles at the end of each line and save the file. Now I select all the files with Ctrl-A on PC or Command-A on Mac. I go to the menu and click on Convert, then Text File to Tag, or Alt and F4 on PC or Option and F4 on Mac. The file is already present on the format string field. I need to change the format to match the lines in the newly saved text file. I click on the arrow, then on Artist, add a comma, click the arrow again and choose Title. I click on Preview to make sure everything is as it should be. Since it is, I click OK, and the data is correctly stored in the files. Now I need to add the artwork. Since it's the same for all the songs, I keep all the files selected. I already have the artwork ready, which I drag into the cover window. I release the mouse button and save. All files now contain the same artwork. I hope this was useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified of future uploads. That's all.